Unturned is presented by UpdateAI.
It's not just the technology. You're restructuring teams. You're rethinking about different processes, how you're going to go about things. And you're getting into like AI technology that everyone hears about and talks about it. But how do you actually leverage it in the right way that's going to produce results for the business? So it's not an easy thing, both for us here internally in CS, as well as for the customer. It's a huge trust issue. And to turn something over, how you're going to respond to your customers to AI is very difficult.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this special episode of Unturned. Why is it special? Well, it's special for a couple of reasons. The first reason is that I don't have John and Christy as my co-hosts. Like I feel free and unfettered from them, my besties here. The second reason is we got Jenny Calvert, who is leading the charge in post-sales at UpdateAI. It was actually our first customer over a year ago, and she's awesome. So she's kind of like hip-checked them out of the picture. And for today, Jenny's my co-host. And then the third reason is that we have one of our favorite startups, also, well, I'm in New York, Jenny's not, but also in New York City, which is Siena AI. And so we have the co-founder and CEO, Andrei Negrau. Didn't pronounce that properly entirely, but close enough. So we'll keep going. And Chad Horenfeldt, the VP of Customer Success and major player in the customer success community in New York City. One of the most well-liked people that I know in the entire CS community. So kudos to that, Chad, for accomplishing that. I think it's just because you're a nice, jolly Canadian with good morals and principles.
For sure.
Yeah. I don't know how you follow that, Chad, that introduction. So, but Andrei, tell us a little bit about, tell the audience, Jenny and I don't know Siena very well, but for others that are new listening to the podcast, tell everybody a little bit about Siena.
Absolutely. Siena AI is the first AI agent built specifically for commerce. And we've done this, I think, a little bit ahead of the game, I'd say. The story here is, it's fun, but it's also, it's not that straightforward, but I'm trying to compress it. So my co-founder and I, Lisa and I, we've been part of the e-commerce and consumer space for more than a decade. We started actually businesses back in Romania where it was the Shopify boom time. Everyone was building Shopify businesses, but no one was really doing it in Romania. So we jumped and we saw an opportunity to do something very special back then and there. And all the businesses, we built a few brands along the years. And one of the through lines of those brands was customer experience. Because we didn't have a budget to compete with other brands that were investing millions in ads, we said to ourselves, like, if we provide a really good experience, like we have a good product, customers are going to come back. And then we took that as our Bible in every single brand that we built along our journey.
Yeah. So like you just roll up the sleeves. Hey, we may not have the 1,000 different features, but we're going to just crush it with just rolled up sleeves, customer experience, building the relationships, giving them what they want.
To contrast what we were doing, some of our competitors at that point, they were not even answering emails. They had backlogs for like weeks and months. We were texting with our customers. I was texting. I was reaching out to them. So it was a very different relationship that we were building versus what they were doing. And then that led to us building our first SaaS company, first SaaS startup that was in this customer experience space. It was a text marketing platform. And from there, we started learning a lot about what customer experience means, how to use customer experience as a way to grow the company. That all led to 2022.
Is that because you were texting? Was it like your first? That was your first practice in or approach, channel, whatever, to giving better customer experience was texting, and so you decided to start that.
Yeah, texting was rather new. So think about 2018, 2020. Texting was like texting used for consumer communication was newish. It was done in the past, but not as a channel to convert and to communicate with customers on a one-to-one level. And so we saw that working really well, both from a conversion standpoint. We were able to convert customers that we were texting with. Like, imagine, asking you, why did you look at the product but didn't buy? And then, you tell us, shipping was too expensive. And I would say, no worries, Josh, here's a discount. You now have like free shipping. So you just go on finalize your purchase. So we were seeing crazy conversion rates. We're talking about 70, 80% conversion rates on these texts, which was insane. And then we took that idea that we initially kind of planted it through our experience in consumer businesses, and we built a SaaS company based on that. And it was partially automated, those interactions, but it was also partially powered by humans. And so at a point in time, we were thinking, how do we
The mechanical Turk, yeah. How do we scale from here? And AI was naturally part of our everyday conversations back then. However, there was no LLMs there were LLMs, but they were just emerging. Yeah.
And fast forward in 2022, there's a series of things that led to myself and my co-founder to write these theses around the future of e-commerce, or the future of customer experience for e-commerce, where we looked at what Shopify did. So oversimplified. Shopify disrupted what historically has been developers or companies investing millions in developer time and resources to build a website. And on Shopify, you just pay them $30 per month and you have a website in like a few minutes. So we said, that's going to be the next thing that's going to happen with customer experience. We don't know how we're going to do it, but we know that that's coming, because that was kind of like the last standing. And long story short, we found out about something really cool that was called, it was called GPT-3 at that time. And I thought that was pretty fascinating that we can have for the first time a contextual conversation with an AI. It was, here's a question, here's what you might want to say, and then here's what the user says. And we would see contextual responses. And for that was the initial, that was the inception point for what we call empathic AI. We saw that, hey, for the first time, it's not a script. It's not a follow to a script, but it's actually something contextual. So from there on, we kept on building Siena and built towards what it is today.
Empathic AI. I mean, Jenny, you're a huge empath. So for your sake, I want to know what empathic AI, you're welcome. For your sake, I want to know what empathic AI is, because it sounds like, did somebody say like category creation? Is this what we're doing here? Is this, you guys are, or is this something that's already kind of established, empathic AI?
I like to think so. Empathic AI, I think we've seen a lot of companies really liking this name,
it's got a nice ring to it. Yeah.
Yes. And so we see competitors, we see a lot of people using this term. And I think a lot of companies don't really digest what it really means. For us, it was always focusing on the customer first, like Siena as a product focusing on the customer experience. And then from there, when you build product, having that mindset, having that framework, everything that you do internally, the features you put together, the way Siena looks, the way Siena talks, everything is funneled back into this product principles, building an empathic AI. And in fact, what's interesting is for a product like Siena, there's on one hand, you have the external experience, which is the customer experience, which is the interaction with Siena. But we have actually another customer, which sometimes uses the product. In most cases, uses the product more than the actual end customer. And that is the AI manager. That's the person who's configuring Siena, that's training Siena, that's giving feedback. And when we're building, we're also building a product that's empathic towards them. It's not just empathic towards the end consumer, the chatter, but it's also towards them. So it's a very interesting dynamic. It's a phenomenal space to be in, because we're leading the market, and there's so many interesting problems to solve when you have to factor in that. I like to say, it's a multiplayer game. You have to consider the customer experience, but we also have to consider how do we translate the business's needs into those experiences in a way that aligns with what they want. So at this stage, I think Chad has already in the last few months has accelerated, and he's gained at this point probably more knowledge than I have in terms of how to translate customer needs into building AI strategies for our customers.
Yeah, I mean, one example, just to kind of make this more real, is I saw one recent example where a customer was really angry and wrote in just like, I want my money back. I'm really unhappy. And at the end of the conversation, because of this empathic agent and just the way that we have programmed Siena, the customer was apologizing to the AI agent and just say, listen, I'm really sorry. I'm just having a bad day. I really appreciate all the help that you did. You solved my problem. And it was just so interesting to see. And this is one of the reasons why I'm here.
Wait, did the customer know that the customer didn't know that it was a bot?
The customer did not know.
Because that would be even more interesting if the customer already knew it was a bot. But still.
Yeah, and I mean, this is interesting. We had another customer, and they had just put something in place where it gave someone the ability to opt out. It's like it just telling them, hey, do you want to speak to a real person? And so the majority of the people actually opted out because they didn't want to speak to AI. But what happened was that their CSAT actually went down, and so their customer satisfaction score went down. And so, and this is another thing that we see, and it kind of just proves out this empathic side, is that CSAT with Siena as compared to the rest of their agents is typically higher. And it makes sense, right? Because you have consistency. You've got someone who's always going to be empathetic, and they're going to provide that answer. And so, unfortunately, with human nature, I mean, we make mistakes, and we might be having a bad day. So it's just a testament as to where we are right now, which is in an amazing kind of new space.
Yeah. So
like picturing the old school, like speak to an agent. Like we're trending out of that phase where this, empathic AI can really do what I think we've all wanted it to do forever. It's tremendous.
Yes.
Yeah. Holding the pound sign or the zero, the zero number
agent,
for like just
agent.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Jenny, you're also a career and executive coach. So I want to put you on the spot to put Chad on the spot to talk about Chad's recent career, growth. Chad, I've known you for a few years now, since you were leading CS at Customer. Customer was acquired by Meta. You were working then at a large company. Now you're back to a smaller team that's growing fast. I'm going to let Jenny ask the question. I don't know what the question is, but Jenny, you ask it around that.
Now it's on me to ask the question. Thanks, hot seat.
Yeah.
I want to know, what that experience is really like. I mean, you go from Customer, Meta back to early stage. I'm hearing building something really exciting. So I'm going to guess the excitement and motivation is there, but what's that been like?
Yeah, I mean, this isn't the first time I've done that either. I started, I started in a really small company, just building custom web apps, and then went to a startup, Eloqua, and I was there for 8+ years, and then that went public and got bought by Oracle, and so kind of gone through these stages. And
how big was Eloqua when you started?
How big was it?
Yeah,
it was about 3 million in ARR. So
oh wow, that's early because that's a big company. Yeah. Yeah.
It went from 3 million to about 100 million in ARR when it went public and it was bought. So, it was a really fun ride. I think, what I've found is where I find like kind of the most exciting part is where I have direction, which is where I have room to move, and room to influence and, just the ability to influence strategy and also to help. I mean, if you know your own personal values, like one of mine is, and my purpose is around helping others. And so in Siena, I saw a really great opportunity to partner with Andrei. And I don't know, Josh, like you tell me, but how many CEOs and VP of CSs have been on your podcast at the same time? So I think it's pretty unique. So we see it really as a partnership, and I've really enjoyed having that opportunity, and had some good advice from previous chief revenue officer who said, hey, like you have this other opportunity over here, larger company, this other opportunity, you'd probably be better positioned going that route. It's been really enjoyable. Definitely a lot. I mean, it's early stage startup. You both would know very well. But you have to kind of know going in what it's going to be like and what that potential path will be and the rewards of it. And it's been a lot of fun building out the team and just helping the organization grow.
I hear that Chad has a superpower in identifying, true rocket ships. So if anyone out there's listening, you join early, you scale with it, you do it again. Got a great track record of success. But I love like your leading indicator of being like values driven. So for me, like empath and coach over here, leading with values and also working in a product that makes a true impact. I'm sure that's really exciting to see the impact day in, day out that the product's making at Siena.
Yeah. I mean, we have our customers that are literally thanking us for helping them just save time, provide a really great experience. And the biggest challenge, and I've been in this industry, in the CX space, specifically with e-commerce and brands for a fair amount of time. And the biggest challenge is like you need to have something that represents your brand, represents the voice of your company, and is a huge trust issue. And to turn something over, how you're going to respond to your customers to AI is very difficult, and it's not an easy thing. And so, not only are you dealing with a new technology, but you're also taking your customers on this change management path of really changing the industry, because it's not just the technology. You're restructuring teams, you're rethinking about different processes, how you're going to go about things, and you're getting into like AI technology that everyone hears about and talks about it, but how do you actually leverage it in the right way that's going to produce results for the business? So it's not an easy thing, both for us here internally in CS, as well as for the customer. And one of the things that I made very clear very early on for the vision for the team is that we want to be experts in AI when it comes to e-commerce CX. And so really see ourselves as that expert. And so everything that we're doing will help towards that goal. And if we're experts, and then we can educate our customers and beyond prospects, the market. But we really need to start with ourselves and make sure that we're fully enabled.
Hey everybody, it's Josh. I'm taking a quick break from the podcast to tell you a bit about UpdateAI. I started UpdateAI to solve two major challenges for CS teams. The first is that we save CSMs 4 to 5 hours per week with our productivity through AI. Secondly, we give leaders a window into all the conversations across each account and the entire portfolio. So we help knowledge transfer, we help increase the coverage model of your CS teams, and we help you detect emerging patterns in what your customers are telling your CSMs across all the risks, product feedback, advocacy moments, and expansion opportunities. So come check us out at www.updateai. It's completely free to sign up and trial. Okay, so in my view here of our podcast recording apparatus, Riverside, it's like a split screen. I've got Jenny and myself on the bottom, split right and left, and then Chad and Andrei on the top, split right and left. I don't know, it might be different for you guys, but so my mind now is working in like tennis for whatever reason, and I want to serve right down the middle, and I want to see who answers this question, and maybe it's a tag team, right? So we're going to role play, and so you guys are Series A-esque, right, company, and we're going to role play here. So it's a board meeting, Q1 meeting. This is your new VC. Okay, guys, what's your 2025 plan for your own customer experience and customer success? What are your top 3, could be less, priorities and playbook for this coming year as the company is growing?
Yeah, I mean, I can jump in, but
you're jumping in on the CEO. He's right here. Okay, that is a really good relationship. I like that trust.
Talked about this.
Yeah. I mean, we literally just had a meeting about this. So
perfect. Yeah. I didn't even know that. Okay.
I mean, beyond the 3, let's just talk about 1. So let's talk about net dollar retention. So net dollar retention is the number 1 focus, and just as an overall objective. And it's not just from a we need to grow and we need to increase our revenue. It's also providing value for customers. And so, by that, we are going to be focusing on how we can improve how our customers are using our products. So for them, it's increasing the number of automations. And so these are like responses that our product will provide. So the more that we do that, the more it saves time, effort, cost for our customers. They don't have to go and hire out other agents. We had many people over the holiday season just say, hey, we didn't have to go and get additional agents like we usually do, like our seasonal staff. So that's part of it. I think the other part of it is adding additional products. And so we need to make sure that our team is fully up to speed and knows how to position those products. But these products are going to be phenomenal, and they're going to provide tons more value to our customers, and they're going to definitely differentiate us. So that's what I'll say is the number 1 thing. And then, cascading down from that, we focused on automation. We focused on growing our team. We've structured our team. We've carved out an onboarding component of our team. We have CSMs. We have support. We have really good technology that we've put in place. We use Update. It's one of those. But I'd say that more focused on process. And specifically, we started what we call audits we do for our customers, but we'll do business reviews. And the ultimate goal is defining the outcomes of our clients and then scaling that. So starting at the highest segments and then going down to the lower segments, leveraging technology to do that and making sure that our customers achieve those. And again, the end goal is on the NRR and providing value.
Andrei, anything to add? No is a perfectly fine answer. If Chad covered it, that's why you hired him.
I'll just say that for us, the number one metric is NR, NDR. And the way we're thinking about most of the discussions is always value. Like, how can we add value? Ultimately, when you're building and selling and scaling an AI agent, it all traces back to the value that the agent produces for the company. It's very different from a traditional SaaS company that maybe has a seat-based pricing, or it has a more of a usage-based pricing with an agent. Companies are just assessing what is the value that I'm getting from this agent. And so, like, absolutely, it's something that Chad and I and the whole team always thinks to is, how do we not just create more value, but also how do we show that value? And that's a very hard problem to solve, because it's not a unidimensional thing where you just, have a touch point or like show some metrics. It's truly explaining in plain words to a broader audience, which can be non-technical. In most cases, it's non-technical people. How does this AI agent changes the way you run the business, and what are those metrics? So it's very, very interesting. Honestly, it's one of those things that really drive me. It's the fact that it's like a puzzle. It's never easy. It's never like a straightforward answer to how do we show more value. It's really, really complex. And each company has, and I think Chad agrees with this, each company has a different lens through which they see customer experience. Some companies are very efficiency driven. They just want to make sure that they have all the right KPIs in place. They keep driving first response time, first resolution time, and all those metrics down. There's other companies that care a little bit less about that, but they care more about CSAT. They care more about the experience. So, and having Siena, a tool that can achieve both, it's really interesting, because then you have to understand, as Chad said, what are the outcomes? What are we optimizing? And of course, over time, you want to have an AI agent that understands and can work with both, actually even more outcomes. We even see Siena helping customers or brands achieve revenue goals. We see revenue lift by implementing Siena. As you can imagine, there's side benefits for having a 24/7 agent. But it is always going to be tracing back to everything that we're doing, be it product, customer success, or marketing, and can we generate more value for our customers?
Yeah, that's the thing I love about agentic workflows now and consumption-based pricing, is that that's the ultimate testament of value. It's measured right there. Can't get away from it. Zapier is doing a wonderful job at it. The way that they do their pricing and add-ons and those sorts of things. And there's a whole slate of companies that are following that path. So Andrei, you have a shirt on that says "Trust Your Intuition," and
I want it. I want that. By the way, send me one.
I was just about to tell him that it's antithetical to UpdateAI in many ways. I, as a product owner for the first half of my career, was trusting my intuition because, I knew best. Just, I'm Steve Jobs, I'm Henry Ford, all that jazz.
Are you?
No, I'm not. But I thought I was at some point. We can talk about that offline, Jenny.
Yeah.
And, but now.
Wish Christy was here for that one.
Oh, Christy would.
I'm doing my best. Like I want to just do her good, and I'm sorry, Christy, I'm failing at taking your seat today.
The zinger is when you think that you've gone over the line, that's when you've just approached the line. So that's just bear that in mind for the remainder of the episode. So we're all about trusting the voice of the customer. And of course, there's intuition. Actually, I once wrote an article a couple of years ago about it's really a Venn diagram of your intuition plus voice of the customer plus market research. All right, Jenny, go talk to Chad. This is not how I generally talk with my coworkers, by the way, but may you please begin talking with Chad and Andrei about their experience with UpdateAI. I do want to be promotional in this because I think that they've actually had a good experience, and it can elucidate some cool things about how to listen to the voice of your customer. So with that. Yeah.
What I think is really cool, and obviously, Chad, we've gotten to hang out a little bit, is that all of the things you're talking about and the ways that you're running Siena, we're seeing in the ways you're engaging in UpdateAI. thinking about like, how do we ensure that we're listening and understanding our customers and their experience? And so, seeing you really tap into and push the envelope as to what Update can do and the insights that you're getting out of it, is fascinating. I think, Josh, I'm going to say it, but like there are times they keep us on our toes a little bit. Like,
every day. Chad keeps us on every freaking day. Are you kidding me?
But we love it because it's always, again, that kind of value delivery and outcome centric. So, I think the first thing is when you were working in frameworks and you got this survey. Tell everybody about like kind of your survey and how you were using UpdateAI frameworks to get kind of insights into the Siena kind of experience survey.
Yeah, I think this is something that Lisa and Andrei came up with, which I think is really, really good in the sense that, when we're assessing our customers, we might look at, what's the ROI and how are they performing and use that as like, okay, well, they've generated X amount more revenue or they've saved an amount. And the way Andrei and Lisa looked at it is like, okay, that's great. But a lot of times when you purchase products and you stay with products, there's an emotional component of it. Like, what's your perception of value? And so the question that we ask customers is that if Siena was an agent on your team, how would you rate her from 1 to 10? So we look at Siena as this real person. And it's a great question. It's almost like it's kind of like an NPS question in some ways. But it's really this emotional thing. Like, how do you perceive Siena? And so I was tasked to get that information from our customers and from a specific segment. And I think in many ways, like this one, answer question is passe. I think you can leverage AI to do that. So just for fun, I was like, okay, let me put this question in frameworks. And what frameworks is, it's, you can put a particular question, and as your call, gets recorded and gets kind of fed back to you, you can kind of go back and see like, what are the answers to these questions? So I think, primarily you were using this for like Medic, like, what are the goals? Like, what are outcomes and things like that? And we use that too. But I was like, okay, well, what if I put that question in there? And then the second question is, well, how can we get that score higher? And so I started looking at the results and I was comparing them to their health score that, we use software to check health scores and just like from, tangential, like just, what are our perception of the customer? And it's extremely accurate. And to the point now where like I literally am running it on every call, and I don't necessarily like look at the notes from the call. I look at the framework and see what the score is, and then it alerts us to say, okay, something happened on this particular call. Let's dive in. Let's try and understand why that score was a bit lower, or why was that score higher. And then we look at the advocacy statements that we have in Update, and we grab those advocacy statements and we pass them on to sales and marketing. So it's really, really interesting to me where from the information from those calls, you can start to score, get that assessment, and then leverage that into your kind of overall approach to your customers and as well as your health of your customers.
So cool. By the way, Siena's getting a performance review. That's what I'm hearing. Like the scoring is like, hey, if you were an actual human being, how are you doing? Right? How are you doing at your job? So love it.
Yeah.
Really unique. Talk to me a little bit about when you're sharing those insights with marketing and sales, right? Like what is that unlocked for them? What have they been able to accomplish? Like how does that also, I think, fuel cross-functional collaboration? Like, do you all have as good of a relationship as I see here today? Like, is everybody on the team that close knit? We hear a lot of, friction between sales and CS at times, or CS and product. So how has that helped kind of unlock the value cross-functionally for y'all?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think there has to be friction. I mean, we were just in a meeting yesterday. We were talking about our go-to-market for Q1 or fiscal Q1, and there was like good fighting in the room, which is good. That's what you really want. But I think what really is important is being aligned across the team on your goals and where the problem areas are and how do you actually align around that and help each other. So one of the things that I'm sure Andrei can speak to is like the ways that we grew, because we grew really quickly and it was positive word of mouth from our customers. So our customers are bringing in other customers, and this is all like advocacy. And so I think one of the things that Update does really, really well is, besides just giving you a summary of the call, like it tells you the advocacy statements and specifically what that person said. And I was like, holy crap, like this is amazing stuff. We can leverage that and we can get that over to our marketing team, over to our sales team, and they can start to insert that into their calls. They can start to use that to reach out to particular customers to get testimonials, to get case studies. And so it became really, really powerful. And a tool that Andrei turned me on to is this thing called Gecko board. It's like a dashboard, and you can just pump all sorts of stuff into it and then throw it out through Slack. And so everybody sees your metrics. And so I was using one for support, and I was using one for customer success or implementation. And so I was like, okay, I could probably take the advocacy statements from Update, put it and create an RSS feed, and then feed it into this Gecko board. So we have this like constant dashboard of advocacy that just keeps kind of rotating, and just keep feeding it in there. And so that's what we did. And it's been really, really impactful to see just new things that will pop up there from recent customers and some of the things that they're saying. And it helps everybody. It's not just marketing and sales. It's also product. And because product can see when we talk about a new feature and how they enjoy the new feature, we will put that into that feed. So it's just a very powerful way, and I can do it in a fairly automated way. Hopefully more automated soon, Josh. It's one of my one of those messages like
it's in the roadmap, in the backlog. Hey, we launched yesterday for Andrei. You're watching the video at 2.5x, right? Yeah. Increase the speed limit on for your sake. So
watch out.
There you go.
It's going to be more efficient.
Yeah.
Is it possible? Cool.
Okay. Well, listen, I think we'll leave it at that. Guys, thank you so much for being on this episode. Love what you're doing. Love seeing your growth. Love seeing more, more New York City startup founders and thriving companies that are out there, from one New York City founder to another. Thank you for sharing how you're using Update. Jenny, you were an amazing co-host, as I knew you would be. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, you're great.
We'll take a poll.
Ask harder questions, though. You got to come at us.
I got to channel my inner Christy. I got to spend some more time with her and work on that. It's a development opportunity for me, but thank you. It was great to have both of you.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Bye.